It's really important that I say that a lot of these young people, and that I emphasize, a lot of these young people have multiple identities, right? So you have young people who may be LGBTQ plus, who are also disabled, who are also teen parents. So, young people are living very complex lives. And so I think that civil legal services, and I'm not just saying this because I work at a civil legal service organization, I think that we can actually make a very big impact on the daily life of young people. My name is Kee Tobar, and I'm an attorney in the Supplemental Security Income Unit and also the Youth Justice Project. Nationally, poverty is an issue for all people in all aspects of life, but however, I think the numbers are showing that there's one particular demographic that needs or deserves a bit more attention, and that's transition age youth. And when I say transition age youth, I mean youth ages 16 to 24. So part of the purpose of the Youth Justice Project is to help young people better transition and to help young people be as autonomous as they would like to be. And part of that is kind of helping them, informing them that they have rights, right? Just think of yourself when you were 18 and the variety, the many decisions you have to make that are still impacting your life now, right? And so if we could put in as much resources, correct as many obstacles as we can for that young person, and it's the name transition age youth is telling of itself, like it better helps the transition so they can transition into fully formed adulthood. Advocating for a young person and contracting with a young person as an attorney is different than contracting with someone who is over 18, right? So what does client-centered advocacy look like for that, right? Young people have problems and they don't even know that there are legal answers or solutions to their problems. So they wouldn't even know to look up a civil legal service organization. So then it's important and very pertinent for us to actually go to where young people are, right? Especially the most vulnerable young people. So one of the things that we do at CLS is that we go to homeless shelters and we do our intake there. And I think it's important, and it's in the toolkit of like partnering with community groups, understanding where young people go, and then go do your intake there. Do some intakes on the weekend, like whatever you have to do to be flexible. At that age, young people, a lot of them don't feel like they have very much control, but they're dealing with a lot of adult issues. And so the more I can help them feel like they have some form of control, the better. If we're actually going to try to accomplish our mission of eradicating poverty, we have to look at who makes up that 16 to 24. Like, what are the reasons that they are experiencing poverty other than systemic institutional racism and discrimination and all sexism and all the different is. And so when you do that, you look at you find very quickly that African American and Hispanic youth are disproportionately represented in that number. LGBTQ plus youth are disproportionately represented in that number. Youth with disabilities are disproportionately represented in that number. Youth with who may have immigration issues are disproportionately represented in that number. And so with that come a variety of other civil legal issues, right? Like, we know the numbers. Most attorneys know the numbers, and you do the work, but you do the work in a neutral way without ever saying or without ever establishing who's most impacted. But it's important for me to always establish that and to always put it out there that youth of color, that LGBTQ youth, that youth of color with disabilities are the most impacted in these particular ways. And I'm going to I'm going to partner with particular groups. I'm going to look at my solutions as it comes to policy in a ways that it is informed by that understanding. My toolkit is centered around legal aid organizations and how legal aid organizations can be helpful to young people, but generally it's about any youth serving organization or any organization who is interested in eradicating poverty and interested in this particular group. I think that a lot of the things are transferable. How you advocate for youth, your outreach times. Like, you don't have to necessarily be a legal aid organization for a lot of this information to be pertinent. So sure, yes, it is a legal aid. It's toolkit. It's targeting legal aid organizations because, again, I do think that we have a prime moment to help break the cycle of poverty for a group, but I think it's transferable to many different organizations. Like, young people are not really trying to carry around paper. I do not trust a young person with paper. I don't trust myself with paper. So if you have something where you can just put your phone up to it and then you can get that information from off the web, that would be cool. And it's something cool.